to Sister Rosemary Welsh.
Good morning. How are you all? We have some wonderful people on our right and on our left, and they're going to, we'll try not to disturb their classes. First of all, can you tell me what grade you all are in? Ninth? Everybody's a ninth grader? Freshman? 11th? Juniors? Seniors? Sophomores? Sophomores is a fun year. I got in so much trouble my sophomore year because I had too much energy. Anyway, thank you very much. My name is Sister Rosemary Welsh. I'm a Sister of Mercy, and I have been a Sister of Mercy longer than your parents have been alive. I've been a Sister of Mercy for 48 years. I am 71 years old, to dispel any myths that I'm a teenager. I have been in Laredo since 1976, and I love Laredo. I am a nurse by background, and now I do a lot of social work. We have a clinic in South Laredo, a Mercy Clinic. It's right in front of Figueroa High School. We have a mobile van that goes all over town to take health services to people that maybe can't get to it. And we have a domestic violence shelter called Casa de Misericordia for women and children who are living in domestic violence issues, are trying to get out of them. And we also help men that are experiencing domestic violence. There are men who also are being abused by their partner. They asked me to come, I think, and sometimes I wonder, I said, surely I'm getting too old by now, but they still invite me. Women's History Month. It's very important because, first of all, we don't want despreciar a los hombres. We don't want to put down men. But I'm here to tell you the men wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the women. Is that correct? Yes, come on, a little liveliness, yes. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now is just shut your eyes, and I want you to think of the woman who means the most to you in your life. Just shut your eyes. I'm not going to call on you unless you want to share. Just who is the woman who has absolutely meant the most to you in your life? And now think, why? Why is that? And now ask yourself, when was the last time you said thank you to that person? So who's the most important woman in your life? Because you could be, I'm sure you have an important man in your life also, but who's the important person? Why do you think that? And when was the last time that you told that person thank you and how much you loved her? The three most important people in my life I'll share in just a second, but is there anybody that would like to tell us? Oh, you're smiling at me. Oh, come on, you smiled. You never should smile at Sister Rosemary. You don't want to say it? Okay. Anybody want to say it? I don't want to embarrass anybody. Okay. Your grandma, and you want to say why?
Because she was actually like a mother to me.
Okay. And when was the last time that you thanked her?
We talked 3 days ago on the phone.
Pardon me?
3 days ago that we talked on the phone.
Okay.
I thanked her for actually being there for me, and I told her that I loved her.
Did it make you feel good?
It did.
Did it? And I know it made her feel good.
I guess.
Okay, good. It's her grandma because she actually helped raise her, and 3 days ago she told her how much she loved her. Good. Anybody else? Okay, that's all right. Well, the people that have meant the most to me, I had an aunt. My name is Rosemary, and my Aunt Rosemary, 3 people that had really turned my life around. Aunt Rosemary was the oldest of 8. She came from a farm. And she had, my mom was the youngest, and my Aunt Rosemary was the oldest, and I was named after her. She lived on a farm, and she had lots of opportunities to get married, and she didn't because someone had to take care of the parents. So she sacrificed. She gave up. She gave up. We didn't even know about it until after she died and people started talking about that. Oh, no, she had about 4, 5, or 6 proposals to get married, and she never said, no, I can't because I have to take care of my parents. No, she just, no, this is what she chose to take care of her parents. She was wonderful. Every summer, every niece and nephew went to the farm. I lived in Springfield, Missouri. She lived close to Kansas City on a farm. We all went. She took care of us. We ate. She took us to the fair. She spanked us a couple times when we rode horses, and 4 of us got on one poor horse. She got my granddad got mad and wanted to whip us, not just slap us on the como se llamas. And then later she said, you just don't do those kind of things. She took care of all of us. She never forgot a birthday, and she had about 42 nieces and nephews. Never forgot a birthday. Called us and always sent us $2, $3, and for you all, that's not $2, $3, $4, $5 is nothing. But for her, for 42 people, and many years ago, that was a lot of money. She never forgot anybody. When my mom got real sick, Aunt Rosie was always there. She came. She just was an inspiration to all of us. And it's something of what we all sort of wanted to do. To this day, my nieces and nephews, I never forget a birthday. I never forget Christmas. I send them a card. I don't have money to send them, but I never forget a card. And it means a lot to them. I went to my sister's funeral last year in March, and the nieces were all bragging, that's Aunt Rosemary, and I am 42 years old, and she has never, ever missed my birthday or Christmas. People remember things like this, kindness. So I'm the person, my aunt taught me how to be grateful and how to be good to people and how to remember folks, nieces and nephews. And when my mom died, she sort of took up like being her mom. My mom was the second one. My mom at 42 graduated from college. She went to and became a teacher. We had some problems at home. She started going back to school. We don't really know why. We only can guess, but why my mom and dad got married, and both of them left college, and they had 4 kids. And there was little problems in their marriage. My dad drank too much, and when he did, he just went berserk. My mom at 36, 37, 38 went back to college. Never complained. The only thing that she taught us bad was everything was going to be okay on Monday. You know what could be falling apart, and she'd say everything's going to be fine. And sometimes everything is not fine. Sometimes things are just rotten. Okay, so I saw my mom graduate from college, and I saw her being a teacher. And she taught the 4th grade. And she taught in a school where a new teacher, not knowing a lot, sometimes I think it happens in our neighborhoods, had no experience. They sent her to the school where they needed really experienced teachers. It was a school that the mothers were prostitutes, the dads drank too much, there were a lot of problems, and my mom loved those kids. And I remember even when she got sick, she never wanted to miss a day of school. She got up and went to school. The other thing she knew, both my dad, and I loved my dad too, problems, but I loved my dad. He tried to live a really good life. He just had a problem. When I was about 12 years old, a little bit younger than you all, I was getting in so much trouble in school. So much trouble in school. And one of the reasons I think was because my mom and dad were having problems. And I was acting out and acting stupid and not studying. And I always talked too much. I mean, I would talk. They tease me now, I'd talk to a wrong number on the telephone for 30 minutes. I'd just talk and talk and talk. So I was in trouble at school. They were calling home. Rosie's always in trouble. She's causing trouble. Remember, I was the youngest of the family. And my mom and dad were so smart. Instead of being on my case all the time, they encouraged me to begin doing volunteer work. Now, they were still on my case. They kept saying, you've got to respect your teacher. It wasn't that I didn't respect them, it's just that I talked too much. And I used to try to, let's say, I thought somebody was being unkind to somebody, I would go stand up for them, even if it was a teacher and I would stand up for them, which is not sometimes the most respectful thing. So my mom was so smart, She's got me to start doing volunteer work at age 12 at a home for elderly people. And when my friend Sarah, who I'm still friends with her since we were 4 years old, we were friends, 67 years, we walked into this place and it smelled so bad. I said, when are we getting out of this place? Mom said, you got to stay till 5. We will pick you up at 5 o'clock. Well, by the end of the day, the Sisters of Mercy, there were a lot of sisters there, they took us under their wing, started encouraging us. That's another thing. You all need encouragement as well, and I hope that you're getting that. Encouraged us, and by the end of the day at 5 o'clock, we wanted to be volunteers at that home. And we got a group of our friends, men, boys and girls, 30 of us, that would go once a week to work at the elderly. I mean, to be able to do volunteer work at 12, now it's really hard. Kids can't do that. So we were very fortunate. So my mom, I saw her a dedication, go back to school. I saw her struggle with my dad with the drinking problem, but and I knew now when I look back on it, I was just being rebellious because I wanted my mom and dad to stay together. Don't we all want mom and dads to stay together? We want them to be there, and it wasn't going to happen. And actually, my father, when things were getting a little bit better, I was a junior in high school, he dropped dead from a stroke. So I always still fantasize, I bet they were going to get back together again. But I don't really know if that would have happened. So that's the second person. And I think I'd have to put my dad right next to my mom. And I want you to think about this. Some people would say, well, your dad was an alcoholic and he caused problems at home. I must tell you this, I do not like Christmas for this reason. We never had a happy Christmas. Never. But I don't tell a lot of people this. I think that's why I like to do a lot of activities around Christmas. We never had a happy Christmas. My dad would come home and we'd sort of see the signs. Had he had too much to drink? And again, we always had the hope that this year it would be different. But every year, he just drank too much, and when he drank too much, he went off the side, and then my mom was telling us all to keep peace and everybody to go to your rooms. But even saying that, my dad was he never missed work. He was a CPA, he was an accountant. And I look back at his family life, and my grandparents were very, very hard on the kids. And I have a feeling some of that came out. But Aunt Rosemary, my mom, and my dad. My dad's name was Tom, and my mom's name was Mildred, and they did the best they could. And even when I talk, I look up there and I say, come on, Dad, help me talk to these young people. Because my dad struggled with something, and he wanted to be better. And I think he was at the cusp of maybe really being able to give up drinking, and he died of a stroke from probably drinking too much. So my mom, my dad, my Aunt Rosemary. The other one was my sister. My sister died last year, and she was 77 when she died. She was a nun. She was a sister like I am for 15 years. She went right out of high school. And when my mom was very sick, my sister came home, and we took care of my mom. And my sister was like 9 years older than I am, and we got to be very close. But my sister was just a good person. She left the convent, got married, had 2 beautiful girls, married a wonderful guy, took care of him when he was dying. When my brother got very sick, she was the one that organized all the trips. At my sister's, she gave her body, both her husband and herself, donated their bodies to science. And what this means, I'm sorry we can't do it here, but what it means is that the body is taken to a university, so young students, doctor students, nurse practitioners, they do autopsies on them. And I'm a nurse, so it doesn't freak me out, but some people it does. And they can learn from the person who died. And when they learn from that, after that, they bring back, they cremate the body when the students are finished, and they bring them back, and they thank the families. It's a beautiful ceremony. The students who worked and learned from them, bring their ashes back, and thank the parents. And then my nieces are going to bury my mom, my sister, and my brother-in-law. When my sister died, it was amazing. We went to her, they had a memorial mass. The people that came out of the crack, I mean, we knew she was a good person. I mean, who doesn't love your sister, right? But there were, I bet, over 500 people came. And this was on a Tuesday morning, 10 o'clock in the morning. And there were young people, there were old people. They said my sister did what? Never forgot what? She never forgot a birthday. She never forgot to call people when they were sick. She went to the hospital to see people. When her friends got Alzheimer's, she went to see them when even their families didn't. Do you see what I'm trying to, it comes around. What goes around comes around. We learned from our Aunt Rosemary the importance of being thoughtful and to going out and thinking of other people. Now, as freshmen, juniors, and seniors, you're looking at me like, who cares? You should begin to care, because you are developing habits right now that when you appear, what is your name, sir?
Armando.
Which Armando, let's say in 20 years, is going to be here and he's going to be a teacher and he's going to be talking to you. You're learning from your family right now what you're going to be like as you get to be older. So every single one of you in this room has a huge responsibility. And do not tell me I am too young. No, you're not. You're right at a wonderful time in your life to really begin to want to give back to others, to stand up for other people. Till you hear folks talking and laughing and making fun of somebody because they're too tall, or because they're too short, or because they wear glasses, or because how the way they talk, or because of where they came from, or whatever. You're not too young to begin to stand up for people. And why wouldn't you want to do that? What makes us, and the older people in this room will tell you, we do the same thing. Chismonas. We love to hear something negative about somebody. We don't love as much to hear something good about somebody. And we pass things that aren't so good, rapidamente. But good things, sometimes we don't want to do that. So I'm asking you, I am begging you. I live in the South. I have lived on La Calle Monterrey for 23 years, in the corner of Monterrey and New York. Sometimes the South has got a bad rap. What happens in the South, yada, yada, yada. I've never had any trouble in South Laredo. I've lived there for 23 years and people take care of us. I love the South, but it's up to us who live here to make sure that it has a good reputation and that we don't do something stupid to make people think that this is a bad part of town to live in. So please, I think I'm begging you young people, first of all, begin to look out, what can you do to serve other people? I'm a Sister of Mercy because of my aunt, because of my mom, because of my dad, and because of my sister. Not because I'm a goody-goody two-shoe, or not because I'm a saint, because the people back there that know me know that I've made a lot of mistakes, and I'm not always the best person. And every night when I go to bed and I'm brushing my teeth, I say, oh, rats, I did it again today. I wasn't as good as I should have been. Oh, I gave that person, I can give a dirty look. Oh my goodness gracious. I can give a dirty look that would stop a clock. I didn't do it, that's not it. Oh no, it's bad, it is bad. My mom used to say, Rosie, if you don't want everybody to know what you're thinking, put a bag over your head because your face talks. So when I'm upset, everybody knows it. When I think somebody's frustrating for me, everybody. So I work on that every day. How can I not show that? We have 2 young people working with us now. Young by, I mean, 25, 26, 27, 28. They're going to be children's advocates. And it's a beautiful time. I love young people. But my goodness gracious, they frustrate me so much. Sometimes I just want to scream. But they love me. They say, they want to please me. And I said, don't please me, just do your job. You know? But they're young, they're excited, they're beautiful. And my responsibility is to be Aunt Rosemary to them, to be their mom to them, to be their dad to them, and to be their sisters and brothers, to give them a good example and to make them feel good. because they are the future. I hate it when they say that kids, these young people, are the future of our community. Well, you are. You are, but you're the present of this community. So wake up and begin to say, what can I do to help other people? And you can do it. You're young, you've got energy. I'm 71, I'm off the hook. I'm getting over this. But I still love going and visiting people at the hospital. I still love when little kids come up and hug my leg and say, Sister, thank you. I love it when I go to the hospital and somebody's very sick and they said, Sister, bless me. Sister, will you pray for me? Or people stop me on the street and say, Sister, oh, we saw you on TV a couple of weeks ago. Would you please pray for my mom who's dying? That's what our life should be about. And so sometimes when people stop me and they say, oh, Sister, can we talk to you? I want to say, under my breath, I say, nope, I don't want to talk to one more person today. Get away, don't want to say. And then I say, yes, what can I do for you? I take a deep breath because it might be that one person who needs you to talk to them, or those two young people that are working with me now. We're going to have Easter, we have for the kids at the shelter, we have an Easter party. And it's always not Sábado de Gloria, we move it 1 week ahead. It's on a Saturday. And everybody that works, all the kids and families that go to the shelter aren't Catholic, but we do the Via Crucis anyway. Because we want them to understand Easter is about what? It's not, and they come out about the rabbit, El Cornejo. I said, no, but that's okay. Don't get mad. Let's just give a good example. So we do the Stations of the Cross, and the kids get all excited. And we have a cross, and they drag it around the yard, and then they go over to a yard, and they pick out Easter eggs. I mean, we mix them together. These two young people are so creative. We have done the Stations of the Cross the same way for 16 years. So I had enough sense to tell these two young people, well, Sister, how do you want us to do it? I said, do it any way you want to. Whatever you want to do, do it. Yesterday they came, they were so excited. It's going to probably be the most unorthodox Stations of the Cross you've ever seen, and the families are going to love it. And the kids are going to love it. The kids are going to have their part of it. The moms are going to have a part of it. The men are going to have a part of it. And then they're going to go over and they can scoop up 2,000 Easter eggs faster. You think it's a vacuum cleaner how they can get those. But they were so pleased. They said, Sister, is this okay? I said, it's beautiful. It's going to be the best that we've ever had. And they walked out and they said, I mean, we have to help people feel good. What if you've got a friend who's got some problems, and she comes and talks to you, and when she's telling you the problems, or he's telling you your problems, you begin to say, you know what, I've got a problem worse than that. Listen to your friends. I am sure that some people in this room right here probably have something that's very hard on their heart, but they might not be able to have anybody to talk to. Or if they tell somebody, that person's going to tell somebody. Who's going to tell somebody? They might tell you a secret and say, please don't tell anybody. They trust you not to do that. But then you think, well, I'm going to tell one person. They're not going to tell anybody. And then that one person's going to say, well, I'm going to tell somebody. And they're not going to do it. One of the things that's concerning me a lot more about having the shelter is that we're seeing younger girls going to the shelter who are abused by their boyfriends. And these kids can be 16 years old, sometimes they're pregnant, and their boyfriends are 17, 18, or 19. So in this room space, if you know somebody that's in a relationship that isn't so good, why don't you say, do you want to talk to somebody? Don't try, if they want to say, well, you have wonderful counselors here. You have wonderful teachers, but help that person. Help that person maybe get help. Because a couple of these young kids that have come to the shelter, they're badly beaten up. Or they've just been told how stupid they are for so long, they believe it. And when I sit down and talk to them, they said, nobody would listen to me. And my very best friend said, he's so cute, you might just have to take it. I mean, seriously. He's so cute. Nobody's cute when they're hitting another person. Nobody. So I think that's another message I'd like to ask you about. And really stand up stand up for somebody. If they're making, this gentleman over there is making little goo-goo eyes at me. If somebody's making fun of somebody else, stand up for them. So I think that's probably one of the messages. And I always tell this story, and the ones in the back are going to be bored about it. But when I was in high school, actually this young boy started going to school with us when he was in the 7th grade. And his name was Roger Smoot. His name didn't help because people made fun of him because of his name. Roger Smoot. Okay. And Roger he was short and he was a little chunky. So people made fun of Roger Smoot because he was short and he was a little heavy. Made terrible fun of him. And in those days, we didn't have like the glasses we have today. So he could hardly see. So people made fun of him, and I was right there with him, like he had Coke bottles for glasses. They were very thick, and he could hardly see. And he had horrible problems in school, horrible problems. So everybody made fun of Roger Smoot, everybody. And I tried to befriend him. I wasn't holier than thou, I don't think I was a saint, but I tried to help him. And we got Roger a date for the prom. I mean, everybody had to go to the prom. We were a very small Catholic school. Everybody went. He had a great time. But we made fun of Roger Smoot. I went back for my 25th anniversary. What do they call it? It's not anniversary when you go back for school. Reunion, thank you. Reunion. And people were there and they were talking and everything. They were still making fun of Roger Smoot. They didn't want to talk about anything serious. So then I'm starting asking, and they said, oh, and they were going on yada, yada, yada. Because I was hoping, I was begging that Roger would be there, because you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to apologize to him. I wanted to say, Roger, thank you for being so nice to me. I hope you've had a good life. And I'm sorry. But we couldn't do that because Roger, at age 28, killed himself. He never had a friend in his entire life. And we found out, my friend Sarah, who I've known since I was 4, and we're still friends, we found out that Roger was abused by his father and his mother. He was lucky to even get up and get to school every day, and that no one ever, ever loved Roger. He killed himself at 28. I'm sure that's okay, you all. Come on. She's okay. Are you feeling okay? Okay. Would you think you should leave? Okay, you're fine. She's not bothering me. Sometimes people put their heads down. They're not really sleeping. They just put their heads down. They're saying, oh, I'm tired. Or maybe they want to go to sleep. You all are being very good, so thank you very much. And you're not, I usually tell the young people before I start, you can sleep, just don't snore. Oh, you're not even listening to me. No, I'm teasing. Anyway, so I'm sure that you all have a Roger Smoot here that you need to love, to take care of, and to protect. And it's up to you to do that. As a junior, as a freshman, juniors, or seniors. It's a responsibility you have to help other people. So I'm asking to think again one more time. Who is that person in your life that you're so grateful for? And why? And why don't you go home and thank them every day? I think the thing about your teachers here and your counselors, it's not easy to be a teacher, un maestro. They get paid, but they don't, sometimes I think they should get paid as much as lawyers and doctors. They should be paid as much, because being an educator, and I hope half of you in this room want to be teachers when you grow up, because it's a wonderful career, but it's a huge responsibility. And it's not easy. It's not easy when you're trying to teach and the kids aren't paying attention. It's not easy when you're trying to teach and they're are making eyes or just don't even pay any attention. So I think that's one thing. Another thing I'd like you to do is go home tonight, and I'd like you to thank your mom and your dad for doing everything that they're doing for you. They're making sure you get to school. And thank them both, whether they're together or they're not together. Thank them, and thank them for your education. And don't forget Mother's Day, and don't forget Father's Day. And don't forget Grandmother's Day. It's a shame there's not a Sister of Mercy Day. No, I'm teasing. But don't forget those days. And I'll tell you one last story. Let me tell you why. Because what if your mom or dad or your aunt or your grandma died tomorrow? Would you regret that you hadn't said something to them? What if you woke up tomorrow morning? My dad died at 53. And I told you about the problems at home. I'm not complaining, it was just reality. That night, he always wanted us to go out on Saturday night. We would go out to eat with my dad. My brother and I, and this is when my mom, they were still having problems. So my dad came this Saturday night, and he said, come on, let's go out. He'd come in, pull in, and he had a red Studebaker. You know those old, you probably don't even know what a Studebaker is, but it was a classic car, red Studebaker. Come on, Rosie, let's go eat. I said, no, I don't want to go tonight. He said, oh, come on. We'll only be gone an hour and a half, 2 hours. Come on and go. Nah, Dad, I don't want to go. I'll go next week. My dad died that night. And they called me because he went back to his office and one of his buddies found him. And he hadn't been drinking, but he'd had a massive stroke. And his friend called my brother and I. I'm 16, my brother's 20. We go and we find our father dead. I never had a chance to go out to eat with him again. I am 71 years old. I was 16 then, and I still regret it. So I think that's what I'm telling you that, not to say, well, that's sort of a stupid. No, don't have regrets. Don't tell people. If you have a good friend and you have an argument, make up. Don't lose a good friendship over something stupid. And your parents. Now, the last one is my mom. My mom was sick, and I was a student nurse. I went to school in St. Louis and St. Louis University. I was in my last year of school, and my mom was sick. She lived in Springfield, Missouri, about 200 miles away. I used to call my mom all the time. Hey, Mom, how you doing? Yada, yada, yada. I'll be home. I'm graduating in June. This was Mother's Day. And I worked. I went out the night before and we partied, and I got home very, very late. I woke up very, very late. I rushed to work at 3 o'clock, and I said, I'll call Mom at dinner time when I didn't have dinner. My mom called me at 11:30 p.m. and said, Rosie, are you okay? Because you always called me on Mother's Day. You never forgot birthdays. I said, Mom, I am so sorry. She said, that's okay. And I could hear it in her voice. My mom was dying. She was very sick. And this stupid kid thought more about going out and partying the night before and not getting up enough to call your mother and wish her happy Mother's Day. All year long, I went home, I'm taking care of my mom, and she's very sick. She lived longer than we thought she was going to. And I prayed that my mom would make it one more Mother's Day. And she didn't. She died April the 29th. I still regret it. And I tell you these things because I don't want you young people that are so, I was teasing them and I said, you're beautiful, you're handsome, you're smart, which is all true. But I want you to be good people as well. I want you to think of the small things. I want you to take care of people that nobody gives a piddly squat about. I want you to stand up for what is right. I want you to thank the people that are helping you. And that's not holier than thou. That's not something to be made. What if your friends say, oh, boy, look, you're thanking the teacher. What do you want? Say, no, nothing. I just want to thank them. What do you mean you're going to stay home on Mother's Day? Let's go out and because I want to be with my mom. What do you mean you don't want to do this? Well, I want to go visit my dad. What do you mean you're taking your little brother with you? Well, I need to take my brother or sister because they don't. I don't want to go out with you. Then go on. I don't like the way you treat your girlfriend. I don't want to be with you. Well, it's none of your business. Well, that's fine. It's none of my business, except I don't like it and I don't want to be your friend. I don't like the way you make fun of other people. I don't want to be your friend. You all have your life in your hands. You can make a difference, or you can just slide through life and get to be 40, 45 and wonder what's it all about. Or you can make something out of it. electrician, a teacher, a doctor, a counselor, a secretary, a social worker, but make a difference. Please, because we and the world need you. In 2015, our country, our world is probably in the worst shape it's ever been. When you look at the whole fact of racism is alive and well. They talked to me about what's happening in Ferguson, Missouri. Do you all know what's happening in Ferguson, Missouri? Some young African American was killed. You know, people say he deserved it, he didn't deserve it. A certain amount of racism. There is racism alive and well. I have a friend who is Mexican American. She's got her PhD in public health. She went with two people, Mexican Americans, they're all very dark, was in Austin 3 weeks ago and couldn't get a seat at a restaurant when there were all seats available. Racism is alive and well. You all, and they were Mexican Americans, they all looked like you. And when they finally let them in, this is 2015, they put them by the kitchen. Where people, and they said, no, we want to sit in that table over there. No, you can't sit there. They said, oh, watch us. So they got up and sat there. Make our world a better place. Make our world a better place, because you can do it. No one ever thought Rosie Welsh was going to amount to anything, because I was always in trouble. But my mom believed in me, my dad believed in me, my sister believed in me, and there were a couple of teachers that believed in me. And I said, you know what, I can do this. When I became a junior, I turned it around in school because I wanted to be a nurse. Up until now, then I was just not doing well. But once I found out that I could make a difference because of the volunteer work, helping other people, I could make a difference, I said, I'm going to go for it. Nobody's going to change the world, but you can change your school. You can change the class. You can make a difference if you want to. And somehow I think you do. So in the name of your community, and in the name of your families, and in the name of your teachers and your school, I thank you. I thank you for being the young people that you can be. And I hope that someday our paths will cross. If you ever need anything, I'm in the phone book, Sister Rosemary Welsh. God bless you all, and thank you. You can ask anything. Those people were listening. They're pretending they weren't, but they were. No. Okay, no questions? Okay. Do you have a question for me? Mm-hmm. Are you a teacher here?
Yes.
Tell me what you teach.
High School 101, which is my freshman, and USHS, which is level 8.
I love. Do you like it? You must love history. What's your degree in?
Social.
Great. And all these people, and introduce so they'll know these wonderful people here. And you, young man, you've been here for years.
I'm a librarian, and I'm a math major. I haven't graduated yet.
Good. Okay. And that young person behind you?
She's one of our library helpers. She's a senior.
She's a senior. Well, do you have a name though? Very nice to meet you. Thank you.
I'm the librarian here.
And over there in the corner?
I'm Sara Rodriguez. I'm a library director.
And who's that gentleman with the camera?
My name is Pete Martinez. I'm with United ISD.
And why do you all do what you do every day?
Love working with children.
Because of these folks. So you all on this side need to do what you do every day for those people. Thank them before you go home today. Be grateful that you've got this beautiful school. Make United South and United the south part of town and your parents proud. And you had a great basketball team, and I was really cheering for you all. Yikes. Okay, God bless you. Thank you.